Welcome to Tracy's Terrors. If you love horror and appreciate smart animal commentary, then you are in the right place. Today, Strigoi, VamPullet, and I will be discussing Nat Cassidy's 2024 novella, Rest Stop. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel, visit us at the website tracysterrors.com, and follow us on social media. So let's get started. Last month, I reviewed Rebecca McKendry's Glorious, a movie about a man who confronts cosmic forces from within the confines of a roadside restroom. And maybe bathroom horror has infiltrated the zeitgeist of the past few years, because now I'm discussing Nat Cassidy's Rest Stop, a novella that also leverages the generative power of a small stall against a sweeping backdrop. Here, the larger forces aren't alien, but historical. On the surface, Cassidy's Rest Stop is a bathroom in a gas station, but symbolically, it represents a particular period in American history, an era of relative peace following the world wars that may be coming to a close. Skillfully moving between the mundane and the metaphorical sides of this novella's setting, Cassidy delivers weighty and often grim insights with subtlety and humor. Oh, and with snakes and gore, too. In this gap between Nephlings, his brooding tour de force, if you haven't read it, read it, and When the Wolf Comes Home, his much anticipated take on lycanthropy, and if anybody wants to send me an arc on that, I'm open to it, Cassidy thrives under the constraints of the novella's shorter form, demonstrating his talent for creative and economical dialogue and exposition. While he can make great use of extra pages, his previous work proves that, he doesn't need a lot of space to give us a compelling narrative with big ideas and memorable characters. Nor does he need the maneuvering room of a novel to unpack his very eclectic horror aesthetic. From creepy, crawly thrills to a stylized set piece that would fit in an Argento film, this novella has something for every genre fan. Here's a very quick summary. On the surface, the story of Rest Stop is deceptively simple. Though he should be practicing for an upcoming gig, musician Abe is on a late-night road trip to the deathbed of his grandmother Bobby, a shrewish woman whom he hates. Thinking about their complicated relationship, his death metal band, and his recent romantic disappointment, he passes a roadside attraction featuring spiders and snakes before pulling into a gas station. Despite the cars in the lot, the building is eerily empty, and when he visits the bathroom, someone on the other side of the door locks him in. Thus begins a night of torment and terror. With a few exceptions, the book focuses on one man in one room for one night, a limited subject, place, and time that seems appropriate for a novella, a format in which it is difficult to have enough space to craft a very complicated story. But Cassidy is a master of economy. His strategic use of dialogue turns the novella into like a concertina, a layered structure that expands outward to include a myriad of characters and contexts. Alone in his bathroom prison, Abe holds imaginary conversations with friends, family, and most importantly, his grandmother. Channeling Bobby's voice, he recreates the toxic dynamic that characterized their relationship, while gesturing toward the religious and the generational tensions that shaped their psyches. In a single character, Cassidy manages to give us a full cast and a surprising amount of historical reach. Through heated dialogue with his grandmother's persona, Abe arrives at one of the closely related paradoxes which lie at the heart of the book. The bathroom seems to be the safest place in the world. The space is small and windowless, the only door is locked, and without a sledgehammer, the tiled walls would be difficult to breach. The irony here is that the features guaranteeing his security are also the ones that make him defenseless against the capricious killer dropping dangerous things through the ceiling vent. His safety is that of a fish in a barrel, with a drunken gunman taking shots at the bilge. In the same way that the circling fish is already a bloated floater, Abe, with his murder seemingly a foregone conclusion, is as good as a corpse. To use his coinage, he's been Schrodingerized, and like the hypothetical cat in the famous thought experiment, exists in two contradictory states at the same time. At once safe and vulnerable, alive and dead, Abe, like all of us, holds impossibilities in a delicate tension within himself. And Cassidy manages to reveal these brain-taxing truths through the metaphor of a grimy bathroom. It's a real feat. On the level of plot, Abe's delirious recognition of life's absurdity helps sustain him through a traumatic situation. But more significantly, these paradoxes have dark correspondences beyond the rest stop and in the broader sweep of history. Cassidy signals his more serious concerns early on through Abe's grandmother. To Bobby, a Jewish woman who grew up in Poland during World War II, Abe has always represented a detestable American softness, the product of an easy life in a country of peace and plenty. But Cassidy complicates the meaning of peace by setting rest stop in the summer of 2016. The dread of Trump's imminent reign infects the relatively contained action of the book with larger meaning. While Abe may seem safe and comfortable in the beginning of the story, the reality is that he's under threat before ever stepping foot into the bathroom. He may distract himself in the car with yacht rock, the music of wealth and carefree leisure, but he, along with the rest of the country, are marching toward fascism and the threat of political violence. In the same way that safety means vulnerability and life means death, the peace that has characterized Abe's generation is just a blip on an endless timeline of wars. It is always already over, or may as well be. Historical forces and trends, Cassidy suggests, move ineluctably toward conflict. This period of relative peace that Americans have enjoyed from the book, this time between the great wars and whatever's coming next, is an exception to the rule. It's a rest stop along an endless road of cruelty and carnage. This is a bleak message, but it is leavened with humor. All of the weighty ideas in Rest Stop are leavened with humor. A whiny but lovable slacker, Abe's observations and reactions, no matter how dark they are funny. And the dialogues taking place in his head often have great comic pacing. He and the persona of his bandmate Ty go back and forth like they're in a really entertaining 90s movie. And Bobby's acerbity cuts the dude vibe perfectly. And that's not all. Good at writing comedy, Cassidy is also a virtuoso of gore, who moves seamlessly through different registers of horror. In an age of weekly mass murders, a multiple fatality incident at a gas station sounds almost too close to home to be amusing. But for those who enjoy realistic and true crime violence, it will definitely give you that sought-after, stomach-dropping sense of dread. And it works for me too. When there are lungs draped over the coffee maker and ice scrapers jammed into someone's ass turkey tail style, then horror fans like me who don't love the hard stuff know that it's okay to laugh. The gore is so over the top that at points it veers into the artistic. Consider the scene when Abe steps out of the bathroom. With wall-to-wall blood gleaming vinyl red under fluorescent lights, the imagery is pure Argento, and I adore the giallo aesthetic. There's also loads of insect horror, so if you suffer from a fear of insects and you'd like to poke your fears with a sharp stick, then this is the book for you. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the channel, visit us at tracysterrors.com, and follow us on social media. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.